Hey guys, it's Sydney at Treadmill Review Guru. I have another comparison for you. This one's exciting. We're comparing the Bowflex Treadmill 22 with the NordicTrack 2450 and the NordicTrack X22i. All of these treadmills do have some similarities, but they have some differences. So I'm gonna give you the rundown so you can pick the right one for you. All right, so starting with their similarities, even though they look all kind of vastly different, they do have some similarities. First, to start, they have 22-inch touchscreens. This is, I think, my favorite size when it comes to a touchscreen on a treadmill. It's large. Each of them offers subscription training content to give you, motivation, guided workouts, as well as just kind of entertainment when you're using the treadmill. That way you never feel bored. All the subscriptions are optional. The NordicTracks use iFit and the Bowflex uses JRNY. I'm going to get into what each of those subscriptions offer in a moment later on in this video. But you have those 22-inch touchscreens, which are large. Also, all of these models are great for handling heavy use. They're, our top recommended machines because they handle a lot of use. We really like them for running if you want to log a lot of miles. Their motors are hardy to be able to handle that use. The Bowflex and the X22i have the same size motor, 4 horsepowers, and then the 2450 has a 3.6 horsepower motor. Really, that range of motor size, you don't notice too much of a difference between the 2450 and these two other models as far as performance. So just know that any of these models, you will be able to use them often. And they're also pretty quiet. We recommend them all for pretty much all home spaces as far as noise output. The motors adjust consistently, smoothly, also while being fairly quiet. And they all go up to 12 miles per hour to offer you that much speed range. Really, that's kind of typical from what we see on home treadmills. And for most users, that'll mean you're running, if not sprinting at that pace, so it gives you plenty of speed range to work with. So all of these treadmills are, large and they're substantial. As far as their weight, the 2450 is the lightest. It's around 300 pounds, so it still actually is a really substantial treadmill. They all feel really solid and heavy to use. The Bowflex then goes up from there at around 336 pounds, and then the X22i is around 417, kind of roughly pounds. So they're all large, but they all feel extremely solid and stable to use. All right, so now let's get into the kind of meat and how these treadmills differ. I do want to preface by saying that there are a lot of details on all of these models that I'm just not going to be able to get into in this video, but we do have individual video reviews on our YouTube channel, so make sure you subscribe, check those out, let us know in the comments if you have any questions. We'll do our best to try to answer those. But as far as differences, they do differ in their size. The X22i is your kind of largest one, although the Bowflex is a little bit longer. The 2450 is going to be your compact option. It's going to be kind of your best bet if you don't have a lot of space for a large treadmill in your home. Also, a big difference, and also what can contribute to if it's appropriate for your home, is storing options. So the 2450 and the Bowflex Treadmill 22 fold up, and that is huge. I know for a lot of people, just for, when you're not using the treadmill, that deck will fold up, it locks into place, just saves a lot of room, so that way, maybe you don't have a full-on dedicated, area for the treadmill to just stay unfolded. It's really nice to have that option. The X22i does not fold, so we do recommend a designated place. And with the Bowflex, we also recommend kind of more of a designated place, because even though it folds up, if you kind of want to move it around, it's just not quite as maneuverable because it's pretty heavy. It's also really overbuilt and beefy. So we've just found that it's harder to move. I think definitely the 2450 in this case is a lot easier to move than both of these models. It's also significantly lighter, as I just mentioned. Also, another area where these models differ is their price. We do have affiliate links in the description, so make sure you check those out. Also, purchasing through there really helps out our channel, so we can keep creating comparison reviews like this for you, but you can check the current prices there. I will say, just to kind of give you a general idea, the The 2450 and the Bowflex are more similar in price, and the X22i is going to be a little bit more of your splurge option. I think that also then contributes to the training capabilities. Another area where they differ is their deck size. So actually the Bowflex Treadmill 22 and the X22i have 60-inch long running surfaces that are also 22 inches wide. This is kind of a larger running area that we see on home treadmills. The 2450 is a little bit more compact. It has a 60-inch long deck like these, but it's only 20 inches wide. And really with this length in our testing, we found that, users with really any size running stride can be able to, run and sprint and use these treadmills up to their, max speed just fine and have plenty of room. With the 2450, some users, if you like a little bit more width to run on, you might feel a little constricted. That's where these two are a little bit better option, but all of our reviewers, we don't feel too much of a difference when we're running, so kind of a personal preference and up to you, and also how much space you have in your home for the treadmill. With the cushioning that's built into the deck, it's also different on all three of them. So with the NordicTracks, NordicTrack has some of the softest cushioning that we have really felt when we're testing treadmills underfoot. The X22i, I think, has some of the softest. It just feels super shock absorbing, and it can feel a little bit bouncy when you're at higher speeds. Like usually when I'm at like 9 miles per hour up, it can almost get like a little bit bouncy, so that's just something to be aware of. But as far as comfort, I would say this one is definitely kind of the most comfortable. The 2450 is also, it just kind of has a little bit less cushioning than the X22i, but it still feels super soft to run. Really kind of these two are my preference. If I have to do long runs, I tend to choose either of these models. And then with the Bowflex, it's actually pretty firm underfoot. So don't necessarily recommend it if you have maybe joint issues, you get discomfort when you're running, just because it does feel pretty firm. But if you're maybe training for a race that's going to be outside on pavement, this one would be a good option if you want a similar feel underfoot. And then also how they differ is with their incline ranges. So with the 2450, it has the least amount of incline. It also declines. All of these models decline, which is really appreciated because that just adds even more variety to your training. So it inclines up to 12% and declines to -3%. So as far as more kind of typical treadmills, this is a little bit more of the run-of-the-mill as far as an incline and decline range. With the T22, it steps it up a notch. As far as a folding treadmill, this is the highest incline that we've seen on a folding model. It goes up to 20% and then it declines to -5%. So that is a pretty good range. And when you're on it, it's tough. I know I can kind of barely walk at 3 miles per hour with that full deck inclined. And then if you really love, maybe hiking and you want to feel like you're climbing Mount Everest, that is where the X22i comes into play. That deck inclines up to 40% and it declines to -6%. And let me tell you, it's insane. It is challenging. You have so much range that I can't even walk at 3 miles per hour. I have to bump it down to like barely 2 miles per hour to be able to use it. That's where these handles definitely come in handy. So you have a lot of different options to work with, and it kind of also is something that factors in with your ceiling height. Another thing that's different with all of these that also factors into that ceiling height is the step up. So that is from the ground up to the top of the side rail. When the treadmill's just at a flat grade, which all of these are right now, the X22i has the highest step up. And this also affects, maybe if you have mobility issues, being able to just step up onto the deck. This one is taller, it's about 14 inches. Definitely will need a high enough ceiling to be able to accommodate the 40% incline and the step up height. The T22 and the 2450 are a little bit more low profile, is how we refer to it as. The T22 is about 10 inches high, but it still does incline up to that 20%, so it's important to factor that in. And then as far as the 2450, it's about 9 inches, so not too much of a difference there, but considering the difference between the incline range, this one, the 2450 is kind of your best bet if you have a little bit lower ceilings. But this is all the big key differences to consider, and I hope this helps you narrow down your search. I'm now gonna hop on all of them so you can see them all in action, hear how they sound. Okay, so before I hop on and let you guys hear and see them in action, I'm just gonna give you a little overview on what to expect with a subscription, because that does contribute a lot to the overall experience on each of these treadmills. So as I mentioned, the NordicTracks both have iFit. iFit comes free for the first month, and it's really great for trainer-led classes. They offer thousands of workouts. What kind of makes them stand out is their outdoor classes. They're filmed all around the world, and the instructor kind of acts as a tour guide to guide you through each location. There's also studio classes filmed indoors. That's what to expect with iFit. And then with JRNY, that's available on the T22, it has more of a variety. So you have trainer-led content. The classes are, on demand like iFit. They're filmed in studios. They're not quite the same level as iFit, but you have that option. Plus there's other types of onboard workouts to choose from, adapted workouts that come with JRNY. There are outdoor filmed different locations that you can explore, and then you can also stream from apps like Netflix and Hulu. So you get more options with JRNY, but with iFit, it's really great for those trainer-led classes, and you get a lot of instruction with those. All right, so now I'm going to start with the X22i. I'm gonna run and walk on it as well as incline it so you can see all that it has to offer. So let's get going. So here's 3 miles per hour. Here's 6 miles per hour. And here's 9 miles per hour. Okay, so I'm gonna really slow it down, and let's crank it up to the full 40% incline. So here's that full 40% incline, and it is intense. So we had that deck decline so you can see the X22i a little bit better. So I'm gonna bring it up to that flat road. All right, let's crank it up to 3 miles per hour. Here is 6 miles per hour. Here's 9 miles per hour. All right, back to that walking pace. Here's that incline to 20%. The Bowflex is just a little bit slower to adjust that incline than the X22i. Just keep that in mind. But here is that full 20% incline. All right, and finally we have the 2450. Here's 3 miles per hour. Here's 6 miles per hour. Here's 9 miles per hour. And here's that 12% incline. Okay, so thanks for watching our comparison of the NordicTrack 2450, the Bowflex Treadmill 22, and the NordicTrack X22i. These are all super hardy treadmills. We recommend all of them. They're actually all found on our best treadmills list. You can head to treadmillreviewguru.com. We have individual written reviews there. We also have video reviews on our YouTube channel of all of them because there's a lot of different details that I wasn't able to fit into this video. So make sure you check those out, especially if you have specific questions on any of these models, and let us know in the comments which one is your pick, and if you have any questions, we'll do our best to try to answer those. But as far as kind of our recommendation, we recommend all of them. I would say the X22i is going to be your best bet if you want a treadmill with kind of maximum amount of training capabilities. It inclines up to 40%, declines to -6%. We don't often find this incline and decline range on treadmills, so super impressive. The cushioning's super soft, so if you have joint issues, this one's really comfy to run on. And it does require a designated space. It doesn't fold up, so just keep that in mind, and it's pretty heavy to move, so we don't recommend moving it often. The Treadmill 22 from Bowflex is your best bet if you want a high inclining treadmill, but you need one that folds up. It's nice. It inclines up to 20%, and that deck folds up to save a lot of space. It also declines to -5%. It is pretty firm to run on. The cushioning is a lot firmer than the NordicTrack, so keep that in mind, especially if you have joint issues. But that folding deck and all the different training options is really awesome. With the 2450, this is going to be your best bet if you don't have a lot of space. You want kind of your standard treadmill that can handle a lot of use. It handles the same level of use as these two, but it's just a little bit more compact and it folds up. It's also easier to move because it's lighter in weight than these. So if you need one that, takes up a little bit less space, a little bit more maneuverable when you're not using it, that one is kind of your best bet out of all three of these options. But all these models really, they're fun and really fun to run on, so definitely check all of them out, but hopefully this gives you an idea of which one is best for you. For those prices, check the link in the description. We have our affiliate links there. And if you like this video and find it helpful, give it a like and subscribe to our channel. We create comparison reviews for you so you can see how models that are pretty comparable actually kind of, compare when you put them side by side like this. So make sure you're subscribed. We've got a lot of great content coming your way. I'm Sydney with Treadmill Review Guru. I'll see you next time.